Interesting, I've had the opportunity to be a part of some political movements and different political events because of the rise of a number of issues in our culture. Chief among them, the abortion issue, the critical race theory issue, and also the whole alphabet mafia. These things have allowed me to be in some different circles. I've written on these issues and, again, have had the opportunity to be in a number of different circles. And it's tempting in those circles to do what I call shaving off the edges, right? It's tempting to be in those circles and to recognize that, like, we agree with each other on this cultural issue. However, they don't come at it from my perspective. So let me just shave off the edges of the gospel and just talk about this from this perspective so that we can sort of keep this alliance. No, absolutely not. And the minute we refuse to do that, we recognize that even among people with whom we identify politically, we're strangers and aliens because we're rooted and grounded in the gospel and not just political theory. So even there, it makes us strangers and aliens. Eventually, our Christian citizenship manifests itself. We can't hide it. Secondly, our righteousness is what brings the opposition and the suffering. Verses 13 and 14. Now, who is there to harm you if you prove zealous for what is good? But even if you should suffer for righteousness' sake, you will be blessed. The understanding here is that there's suffering that often comes. And our Lord warned us about this, did he not? If they hated me, they will also hate you. And by the way, the suffering that Peter is talking about here in 1 Peter 3 is not people calling you names. The suffering that he's talking about here in 1 Peter 3 is people taking your life. And that's what's come crashing in on us here. Not that Charlie Kirk was a preacher in a pulpit somewhere, but that in large part, it's those issues and those areas that have directly confronted biblical Christianity that he spoke to in the public square. Issues like biblical manhood and womanhood, marriage, human sexuality. These same issues that biblically we stand 10 toes down on. These are the ones. And by the way, here's what you need to understand. The game has changed. We don't debate anymore. You see, now we look at issues not through the lens of our underlying philosophy, but we look at issues through our identity and our lived experience. So when someone is taking a position on political issues today, oftentimes because of this Neo-Marxist ideology, this oppressor-oppressed ideology, because of the way we sort of divided the world, we look at it through that lens. And so this is not just my political opinion or position. This is my identity and this is my lived experience. So we can't have a debate on that. For you to have a debate on something that I have declared as my identity and my lived experience is for you to negate my identity and to negate my lived experience. And by the way, we've already decided that words are violent. So if your words are violence and they are violence against my very identity, it's reasonable that I would respond to your words with actual violence. Just know that. So that's what brings the persecution and the suffering. You don't even have to declare your position. For those of you who think you can hide, for those of you who think you can be quiet enough, for those of you who think you can put your head down and not experience some of this, just saying that you're a Christian, just people knowing the church that you go to. I get flack every time I come to Moscow, just because Doug Wilson lives here. And then he's my friend. Oh. By the way, there are other people who get in trouble because they come where I live. And name me as their friend. So when you've staked out that position, when they know, for example, that you believe that life in the womb is precious and ought to be protected, when you believe that God made them male and female and one can't become the other, when you believe that marriage is between a man and a woman, and that regardless of what the Supreme Court said in Obergefell, man does not have the right to redefine the institution of marriage. When you believe, and I can go down the list, when you believe these things, you don't believe in a slate of positions that are debatable. You have identified yourself as a person whose very existence is violence against the identity and lived experience of others. And you are not worthy to live. That's where we are today.